Welcome, my friends, to this glorious Greenskin showdown. And today, guys, we're going to be facing off against the Empire, who shall be led by Marcus Wolfhart. So yes, we're going to be here with the Hunter and the Beast DLC, and our Dreadwah is going to be trying to take it to those filthy wagons. And I think he actually does have some wagon action going on. So yes, it does look like he's going to have the Black Lions Regiment of Renown Hellblaster wagon, and this thing can do some work. But I was kind of expecting a little bit of a kind of wagon treachery, so I did bring a couple Doomdiver catapults, which I actually think are going to be very good against new Empire builds. Doomdiver catapults can pretty much shut down archers. They're pretty good against huntsmen. They can hunt down wagons. And even though wagons do have, a fair amount of armor, it looks like the Doomdivers did get a little bit of a buff to their armor piercing values. They do have the tooltip now as well, so I don't remember them having that before. But yeah, I feel like the Doomdiver catapults are a pretty good answer against that. And if you just want to sit and shoot at Marcus with Doomdivers as well, it's really not a bad target. Now, in the front line, we're going to have a combination of Night Goblins, Orc Biggins, just across the entire front line. Biggins are pretty good against Empire, Cav coming in, and they also are dual purpose against infantry. So they're able to mulch through pretty much most state troops. They can put up a decent fight against greatswords, and they're good against Cav. As such, I feel like they're a pretty good, well-rounded choice here in the front line. On top of that, we got Night Goblins. I think we have two RORs, to AP Cloonies and Warlords boys. They just have good stats and I think are very cost-effective infantry. As such, we're going to be bringing those bad boys to the battlefield. Orc Air boys here, we got some Goblins. Azag up in the sky with Spirit Leech and the sweet Buna against Empire Knights and, Knights of the Blazing Sun, all that good stuff. We also have a little Goblin Big Boss Goon squad. I figured these guys would be pretty effective at hunting down Marcus. They do have shields. They're relatively quick with, extremely quick with 92 speed. And, they pack a little bit of a punch. So we're going to be trying them out. I almost brought them on foot, but I think having them on the wolves is going to be a little bit more efficient here against like wagons and things like that. Night Goblin Shaman, two Doomdiver catapults, each of which is going to be protected by nasty skulkers. And then we have two little goon squads. And I found this to be a relatively effective composition against Empire in terms of Cav. You bring Forest Goblin Spider Riders, and then you also get Squig Herds. And the Squig Herds give you the AP, and the Spider Riders basically pin them down and poison them. It works relatively well. Not the best in all circumstances, but I like it. That's pretty much it for the army. Little Night Goblin Shaman with the Wand of Jet in the forest. And Marcus Wolfhart is going to be leading this glorious expedition in the Battle of Itza, which I actually think is a pretty cool map. It's relatively simple, but there's some cool little terrain features and forest to hide in, so I think this could be a map that you guys could see getting rotated into multiplayer. Marcus Wolfhart right here, he's got his nets, he's got all his sniping abilities, he does not have fleet-footed, and for the rest of the army, it's going to be very mixed forces. So greatswords here in the secondary line, spearmen just to take a beating in the front, of course, pretty standard stuff, but for the new units, he does have the glorious Black Lions ROR War Wagon, and these guys could be quite scary against Greenskins. So they punch very hard. Granted, Greenskins have some very good pursuit tools, so it's give and take. If you want to commit to protecting them, they can do well. If not, they're going to get crumped pretty good because they're not very independent. War Wagons here, or excuse me, Empire Knights here in the forest. And again, against Greenskin Heavy Cav, or Greenskin Cav in general, you don't need like the elite of the elite, like Demogryph Knights in my opinion. Ember Wizard as well to summon Manticores, and this is a really good choice. He causes terror, and he's just a monster himself, and gooning Greenskin Lords is one of the best ways to beat them. So I think this is nice. He's got the White Wolves here, the Huntsman ROR, anti-large, immune to psych, so Azag certainly isn't going to be scaring those boys, and he does have a Warrior Priest on foot in the back, which is a very good choice. This guy is like dirt cheap. He costs like 400 or 500, and the Grand Hammer of Sigmar just goes in deep and does not care. So let's get the show on the road, guys, and see if the Dreadwah can take out the foul forces of the Empire. I feel like it should be the other way around in terms of foulness, but you guys get the picture. So right now, it's kind of like a little bit suspicious that Talaxon Soothsayer here was going to have some vanguards and try and sneak up on me a little bit. So I was scouting the corners of the map with my Forest Goblins and Squig Herds and things like that, and I didn't find anything. So I felt a little bit safe kind of advancing here. And, for once, the Empire probably has a better infantry corps. I mean, greatswords are going to be able to beat most of my troops pretty effectively. And the Doomdiver catapults were able to push the wagon back into the tree line here, and we did not make any contact yet, so the trees were able to kind of save it from the initial Doomdiver fire. But now, we're just going to be taking pot shots over here at Marcus. You can see he's certainly getting crumped a little bit. He's taken about 400 damage from those Doomdivers, so really not bad. In the meantime, though, he is shooting against Biggins, and we are going to be taking that big old ugly frontline engagement. My Orc Air boys are going to be shooting against the archers here in the back, and pretty much whatever they can hit, although I think we do initially start in the greatswords, because they have okay AP values. Goblins have engaged with spears. This is good. They got their prison shakes out, and they're going to be able to go pretty deep on those spearmen. But here in the center, Biggins are going to be fighting spearmen, and, that's what Talaxon wants. He wants the Orc Biggins to kind of break their charge here on the various troops. The spearmen just, not the good stuff, right? And he does drop Marcus's net right here. I think he was trying to net down Azag, but I was able to kind of evade that. Azag's very quick. We do have a little bit of a delayed wah, but I wanted to get it on the Squigs and whatnot, so they're going to be coming in with a good charge bonus. And Squigs, again, like I said, very, very good option against greatswords. Solid AP, bonus versus infantry, essentially a bit of a counter. Now, his wagon is back online, so the wagon's going to be shooting downtown, and I think he's actually targeting some of my assets in the back, like my Doomdiver catapults, trying to take those out. And you can see here, he's thinking about landing with Amber Wizard, and I do kind of countercharge here, but for some reason, I think he just ended up going into the infantry, which was actually a mistake. I meant to actually charge the Amber Wizard up in the sky, knowing that Marcus had recently used his net. Over here, Empire Knights are going to be pushing my flank, but I do pop a Fate of Buna. Buna's very good against these type of units. That's like the ideal situation. I'm probably even better against like large infantry blobs, but still it's going to be good against these Empire Knights. But they do get a nice little charge into the Biggins, and Biggins are essentially kind of a soft counter against these guys, but you know, still getting the charge, and their armor will give them some sustainability, and those Biggins are very, very beat up. So Azag's going to be coming back here to try and peel these Empire Knights off. Obviously, I don't want these guys crumping my back line, so I'm going to be jumping there with Azag, who did take a massive beating because he got countercharged here by the Amber Wizard in the middle, plus Marcus was getting some shots, and it was a very ugly situation. So the wagon is still online, but it's having a bit of a tough time. I was able to get some Forest Goblin Spider Riders up and around and kind of get some initial kind of punch on it here, and the Doomdiver Catapult crews are just going in. Like now I'm just tunnel vision. One of the wagons has fallen, and we're going in here. Doomdiver's getting some really good value here on the black line, so I'm quite happy about that, but the Empire is kind of winning the front line, which is something you don't hear terribly often. But you know, Sigmar's chosen here. This Warrior Priest, oh, excuse me, I'm pressing the wrong button. I'm like, no, it's going away from the battle. The Warrior Priest here is going to be popping the Shield of Faith and the Battle Hammer, Sigmar, Hammer of Sigmar, and he's getting into my back line a little bit, so I don't have too much room between his front line here and my Doomdiver Catapult, so now I'm going to be sending in the reserves. I had some extra Goblins, and the Forest Goblin Spider Riders are going to be on pin down duty. Now, Bounce Power is in my favor here. I've been able to take out the wagons pretty effectively, and I got a little bit greedy here. I went in with Azag thinking I could just snipe Marcus real quick, because Marcus is very squishy, but he did have his nets off cooldown. My mistake there, I should have been paying attention, and he's going to be getting a fat, juicy charge. So at this point, Azag's pretty much crumped. The Amber Wizards on these big old Griffins are just absolute beasts of combatants. And the Slaughter is going to, oh, point blank miss from Marcus with the Amber Bow, which is great, but it matters not because Azag, the Slaughter, is going to be getting slaughtered, but we're not without a retort. Here you can see the Goblin Big Boss is coming in, but we knock over Marcus, so we knock him over instead of getting that impact, which is so unfortunate because those two Goblin Big Bosses, had they made the impact and gotten the damage in, maybe could have killed Marcus there, or at least gotten him to the point of breaking, at which point I could have just shot him with Doomdiver Catapult. So that's a huge disaster right there. The Goblin Big Boss Alpha Strike, they were coming in, but Marcus is an elusive hunter, and he's able to slip through his troops here, and my Goblin Big Bosses are going to be getting crumped by a Summoned Manticore as well as this Amber Wizard. So the Bounce of Power was actually in my favor a little bit, but that kind of gooning on Azag plus my Goblin Big Bosses going down is going to be a pretty rough situation. We have a horde of Goblins and Forest Goblin Spider Riders and you know, a couple of tattered Biggins who are going to be holding back the tide of the Empire, and I feel like all the kind of descriptions I'm using are like, it should be for the Greenskins, but we're holding back the tide of the Empire. But the Spearmen here are holding pretty well because the Warrior Priest probably is going to be encouraging them. Yeah, it looks like, of course, he has Encourage, and he does have the Hammer of Sigmar and the Shield of Faith, so it's going to make those Spearmen a lot better. Archers are going to be falling back, and Nasty Skulkers are going to be falling back to prepare for the final charge of the Empire. However, the bounce bar is still pretty even, and it looks like over here on the far side, the Warlords boys were able to chase off those Empire Knights who were on the edge of the map, and Marcus is very low as well. So here comes the Hero Goblin, the Night Goblin Shaman of the people. I believe he already did use a missile attack on him. I think I used the Vindictive Glare and was able to get some damage, but the Spider Riders should be able to kind of get on Marcus. Doomdiver Catapults just slamming into him and just doing a ton of ridiculous damage on my own troops as well. Marcus is getting low, he's shaken, you can see he's got 714 HP, he's, you know, he does have okay melee defense, but when I say he's not tanky or he's relatively squishy, it's just more in the sense of armor. So over here, the last Goblin Big Boss, the Hero of the People, is trying to come in and get him, but it looks like another net coming down. So the Hunter's Snare is able to catch this Goblin Big Boss, but the Goblin Big Boss doesn't take any shots, and the Vindictive Glare coming down from the Goblin in the back is able to hit Marcus, 665 HP, and here comes the Goblin. So the Goblin Big Boss is going to be juking, and he sees the Las Cannon. So I used the hill to line of sight. Now we're going to be charging in the Hero Goblin Big Boss. Is he going to get this impact? Oh, and he's taking shots from his own people, which actually breaks his charge a little bit. Truly, truly a Goblin situation, but nonetheless, he does finally get an attack on Marcus right there. We're able to get him down to 335 HP. So if we can just break him off here. During this game, like, I was spam clicking so hard and my hand was hurting. I was like, oh, come on, get him, get him. 46 HP. Marcus Wolfhard is so low, but the Doomdiver Catapult should be able to potentially finish him off, which could help the bounce power creep back towards the middle. But, you know, he's so low at this point, and yeah, down goes Marcus Wolfhard. So he is crushed by some of the Doomdiver Catapults. So in the mainline fighting, it's going okay. The AP Loonies are able to get onto the White Wolves, so the Huntsmen ROR, though they are decent in combat, probably will lose to these Angry Goblins here. And our Biggins and other infantry troops have been able to kind of secure the center mass of the battlefield. However, in the back, it's pretty disastrous. You can see the Great Swords and some of these Sigmar Sons, and the Warrior Priest Spearman squad were able to break through. And I really do think you're going to be seeing a lot of Warrior Priests. I think the cost reduction plus the Soulfire Bombardment and just kind of their general utility, just for how much they cost, is going to be quite good. But Bounce of Power is now it's in the favor of the Empire for sure, but it's kind of teetering back and forth towards the middle as my Goon Squad here in the middle is able to clean up a lot of troops. But the biggest issue for me isn't necessarily what's left for the Empire. It's this big angry Amber Wizard. So the Amber Wizard here, of course, causes terror. So for the Greenskins in the late game, terror is like your worst enemy. If that thing is like still around, I probably should have found a way to focus fire it earlier and maybe just ignored Marcus, because Marcus is a little bit more attainable. Like, yeah, you can snipe my Lord like progressively, but perhaps I can dodge his shots. But this guy is like something that is just going to be able to potentially tear out my whole force. But you can see the bounce power does pull back here as a couple of my forces are going to be rallying. So these Skulkers on the edge of the map, 63 of these bad boys have come back and could potentially come back in here, but it looks like they're probably just going to break when these guys get closer. And my Doom Diver crews are back online here. Now they're not going to be able to get to their artillery pieces. Oh no, this is like a horror movie for these goblins. The Greatsword's just charging down this alley, and look at this cool map, like having all this like interaction with the train and stuff. It's really, really neat. But Doom Diver Catapult's going to be going out like heroes of the goblin people. Nope, they're going to be running. Okay, I got excited for them for a second, but no, they're just going to be cowardly goblins, which is great. Here we have the AP Cloonies, who are unbreakable, so 2 fights between these unbreakable units, but the Fanatics cleaving through these guys, doing a ton of work, truly crumping some gits there on the way out. And we might be able to finish off Sigmar's Sons. They still have 41 models against our... Oh, we actually had the exact same model count there for a second. Biggins are coming in, other troops, but I don't think we're going to be able to deal with the Amber Wizard. A very nice Flock of Doom coming down as well. I was a little bit blobbed up here, but I was basically just preparing a battle line to deal with the Amber Wizard. And the last of the Greenskin leadership, the little goblin, is going to be running into the trees, popping the Wand of Jet, just hoping to get one last missile attack here. AP Cloonies are, they're crumping gits. They're having a good time, up to 125 kills, and they're proud of themselves here. They're wearing these guys down. But there are some archers here for the Empire. The White Wolves are back online. The Huntsmans, that's going to be pretty rough. That's really going to tatter a lot of my forces here. This other Doom Diver crew just going straight up like MI6, Mission Impossible, trying to sneak up and around and get back to a Doom Diver Catapult. Vindictive Glare doing some okay damage against the Amber Wizard for the cost. Certainly not bad. Yeah, man, I really should have focused him with Spirit Leeches this game. That would have been just a huge difference maker for sure. Like Spirit Leech plus Vindictive Glare. He can't really dodge as easily since he's up in the sky there. And Marcus was able to kind of hide behind things. But anyway, Squigs are going to be charging in right here. You can see 15 Squigs going to be coming to the aid of their goblin friends, but that's going to be it. My army is going to break. So very well played. It's excellent Soothsayer. It was a really fun showcase of a lot of the different... I was going to say, what's still fighting here? It was a really fun showcase of a lot of the different new units, and we got to see the Wagon in action. We got to see the Huntsman. We got to see the new and improved Warrior Priest, and just all kinds of good stuff. So yeah, it was a really fun game, and I do think the build I brought for Greenskins is going to be pretty decent against Empire. Obviously, there was a couple execution things. I needed to be a little bit more efficient with my target priority. I think having the Spirit Leeches plus the Vindictive Glare going up on the Amber Wizard would have been a little bit better, because like Marcus, like you can tear, like, I don't know, I think he's immune to psychology, but you can get in there and goon him really, like, really well once you kind of wear down everything else. But I just kind of committed too much to trying to finish off Marcus early, and then the Amber Wizard really punished me with its terror. And as you guys saw, it really transitioned into the late game, so that was very solid. So very well played to Talaxlan Soothsayer, the 2-time ever-chosen champ. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Greenskin versus Empire showdown, and we will see you guys next time. Take care.